And we're back. It's weird how when you make YouTube videos almost every day, after like 3 or 4 days off, it feels like you've been gone forever. But it was a good camping trip. Let's get right into it. It seems like every single lightweight out there, every time there is a lightweight fight, they want to call out one person and one person only. And it is no longer Conor McGregor, is it? Well, actually, look, after Buckley over the weekend at UFC St. Louis did call out Conor McGregor, it is probably still Conor McGregor. But there is another blonde bombshell from the UK region that everybody wants to be calling out, and that's Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. So why on earth does everybody want to call out Paddy Pimblett? Look at the recent run of call-outs Paddy has been getting lately, yeah? First it was Bobby Green at UFC 300 after he just put that absolute beating on Jim Miller. RIP Jim Miller, by the way. Rip Jim Miller. Even GOATs age out of the game. God, I hope that wasn't his retirement fight. Can you imagine? Anyway, so Bobby Green went ahead and called out Paddy Pimblett as well after UFC 300, or was the first one to call out Paddy Pimblett in this recent run of Paddy Pimblett call-outs. Bobby, in the cage, in his post-fight interview, said, like, Paddy, how dare you, you little slimy, sugary little snake. Weird call out, but that's what he said. How dare you even say my name? I'm coming after you in July. I'm coming to your backyard, to your people, to come and kick your ass. But at UFC 300, right, Bobby Green wasn't the only one to do it. There was our little, internet's little Pookie Bear, our new meme lord, okay? Step aside, Paulo Costa. We've got Renato Moicano, okay? The new man who makes memes just by opening his mouth. At first, Moicano at 300 was a little bit, I don't really care about Paddy Pimblett. He's too far down in the rankings. But now, since then, things have slowly started to build up. Moicano's gone on to say that he wants that Paddy Pimblett fight, right? He's gone on to say, I think it'd be very, very funny. Oh, God, if you're on the internet, you have to do the Moicano voice. Jesus, how do I forget these things? I think it would be very funny, very funny. So I'm not going to talk too much shit about him, but if he wants to smoke, I'm going to make easy fucking money, brother. Yeah, I know I'm being nice, but it's all shit, brother. Don't forget, Moicano wants money. I'm not doing that anymore. So Moicano called out Paddy Pimblett, right? Said he wants money. He said he just always super based from Moicano. He says, in God we trust, all others must pay cash, motherfucker. You can't help but do it. So now Moicano is calling out Paddy Pimblett as well. And Paddy Pimblett seems to be facing in the Moicano direction, which is not a surprise, is it? Look at the rankings, look at where Moicano is. It's the easiest, sorry, not the easiest, but it's the highest step up for Paddy Pimblett that's making itself available to him. But even last night, right, at UFC St. Louis, the Roman Kopylov wannabe, Chase Hooper, right? He wishes he was Kopylov. He wishes he was good as Roman Kopylov. But Chase Hooper, little baby Roman, okay? Even he called out Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, okay? He said, I'm not the best stand-up guy, right? Which he joked about in his Octagon interview, honestly, because he beat the piss out of Slava Claus, but he did it via like vicious jiu-jitsu mixed in with ground and pound. He said, I think I'm moving my way up the lightweight division. There's a certain British fella, Paddy Pimblett. I don't really like his last performance against the legend Tony Ferguson. I'd love that matchup in the future. So that was from Chase Hooper. So why is everybody focused on Paddy the Baddy? Okay, when you actually look at the lightweight rankings, and it's very hard to get an idea of the rankings after number 15. So I go to the worldwide rankings of MMA, and like it's just, you can separate it into just UFC fighters, so it keeps PFL out of it. But in the UFC, according to them, Paddy Pimblett is ranked something like 25th in lightweight, okay? He's not even in the top 15. When you go to the UFC page, UFC.com at the rankings, he's not even in the top 15 there. Over there, Moicano is number 10th. Bobby Green is number 15. Now, Chase Hooper on the worldwide rankings is about 56th at UFC lightweight division. So it makes sense for someone like Chase Hooper to be calling out Paddy Pimblett. But what about Bobby Green, who was ranked 15th? He'd be going backwards if he was to fight Paddy Pimblett. Moicano is ranked number 10th, coming off dominant wins. He'd be going backwards as well to fight Paddy Pimblett. So if he hasn't got that easy, sweet little number next to his name, like say, unfortunately, Beneil Dariush, right? We love Beneil Dariush. He's been a constant like constant fun fighter at UFC lightweight. He's been in lightweight for so long. He's not one of those fighters that like you want to tease or make fun of or talk shit about. Beneil Dariush is a great fighter. However, Beneil Dariush has not looked himself in his recent performances. He does look like he is starting to age out. So Beneil Dariush is that perfect name at lightweight where let's jump on that name, let's jump on that ranking. For someone who is an up-and-comer, let's get him. But Paddy Pimblett doesn't seem to be that. So why are people calling out Paddy Pimblett? He's got no ranking. He's barely got a name. Well, in the UFC, perception is reality, okay? Ever since that we sided with TKO, ever since we sided with the WWE and became the TKO, everything in the UFC has been pushed more and more and more towards perception. And Paddy Pimblett feels like one of these stars that is being hyped up or built up by the power of the UFC marketing machine. Paddy Pimblett is not really one of those stars that's there because of the merits of his fights. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. Paddy Pimblett, his actual performances in the UFC have not been that great, right? To me. Paddy, during his Vargas fight, got touched up and rocked, and he used his jiu-jitsu and his judo throws to save him in that fight, right? Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Levitt was a jiu-jitsu match, but it wasn't really anything impressive on the feet. Paddy Pimblett against Jared Gordon. Everyone saw holes in Paddy's game. Now, since then, it's come out that he was injured during that fight, but that doesn't really matter, right? It's already ingrained in our memory. When you start to see Paddy Pimblett fight, you're not really seeing these super high-level performances. And then there's the Tony Ferguson fight, okay? Now, just hold off on the hate here. I know Tony's a GOAT. We grew up with Tony. We love Tony. But Tony in current year, or Tony in 2023 when he fought Paddy Pimblett, is not the same Tony Ferguson. And even if you have got David Goggins in your corner, you should be finishing Tony Ferguson. Just because Goggins is in there doesn't mean he can't get finished off, right? If you can't finish Tony Ferguson in 2023, you're not really showing us those impressive performances. So you've got someone like Paddy Pimblett, who has sort of got the name value of a top 5 guy. Casuals know who Paddy Pimblett is. He's got this hyped up Cage Warriors UFC marketing machine name built around him. But his actual performances in the cage are not that impressive. And fighters can see that. The fighters can see the difference between what the UFC is telling us is hype and what is actual hype and skill, which is why all the fighters are like, there is name value there that I can go and take without it being actually super dangerous. Because going back to what we were talking about before, Beneil Dariush is that name. He has got that ranking, but Beneil Dariush is still a dangerous guy. Whereas Paddy Pimblett has got that name that all the casuals know, and if you knock out Paddy Pimblett, if you take all that hype away, you gain all that hype. And that is just a lot easier to do than someone with a name next to them. So what we're seeing now at lightweight is every single lightweight who wins a fight is calling out Paddy Pimblett to go and get that hype, because it's a super winnable fight for almost anybody at lightweight on the right day. Let's be real. Like, Vargas could have slept Pimblett. He was that close to it. Jared Gordon could have finished Pimblett. Like, he is one of those names that's there to be taken, and fighters are seeing that. Paddy Pimblett's seeing all this, and he thinks he is the hype name. He thinks he's the clout name. I don't blame him. When you're on a win streak, obviously you're feeling confident. Obviously you're feeling on top of the world. But honestly, he's sort of the Dylan Dennis of the UFC right now. He's that name that everybody knows, but I don't think he's the name that's any good. Let me know if I'm reading this situation wrong down there in the comments. Why do you think every single fighter that wins a fight at lightweight is calling out Paddy Pimblett? Is there something that I'm not seeing here? Put it down there in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit subscribe. We are nearly at the 1,000 mark, which to small channels like myself is absolutely massive. So I appreciate every single person who has gone and clicked on subscribe since the channel started. We're going to be back doing live streams this week, so make sure to hit the notifications bell if you want to jump on and do live streams with me. And also there's going to be a live stream at the end of the week during the UFC fight night, so if you want to pop in and say hi during that, I know everybody is live streaming during the UFC on the weekends, but if you want to jump in and say hi on this channel, come and jump in and say hi. Until then, I will see you all in the next video.